Noise pollution. Unless you live out in the countryside or out in nature, if you live in a city or even a suburb, sounds of traffic, leaf blowers, construction, cars, sirens. I used to go out to this ranch, and even there it wasn't quiet because I would keep talking. I polluted the peace out there with my own voice. How can you ever hear yourself think? It's so noisy. So much noise and static everywhere. I've been accused of being an alien, interdimensional alien, a psychic, a medium. You know, someone in this community said, hey, you Googling these people? Do you have like a team researching these people? You know, for those of you, what is that, the 10,000, I forgot that thing. To be good at anything, you got to put like 5,000 or 10,000 hours into it. So yeah, you guys know me mostly for my podcasting and my art. But I think of my life, age 0 into my teens, of basically being mute. So there's no talking there. It's just listening. And then, you know, easily over 1,000 hours in group therapy, listening to other people. Hundreds of hours of interviews. You know, how many people have I interviewed for the Choe Show? 200-300 people. All the years I spent interviewing for Juxtapose, HBO, Vice, Giant Robot. What else? Thumbs Up. So many interviews. So yeah, okay, I'm not denying it. I might be a medium, psychic, interdimensional alien, sent from the future, the past, whatever. But I've spent a long time talking to people. I've listened to other people interview Howard Stern and Dr. Drew and all these podcasts that I listen to. But I've just spent a long time interviewing people. Thousands of hours. So, and as humans, we're pretty predictable. So when I talk to someone and within the first minute, I can hear an inflection in someone's voice that they smoke weed day and night, that their father beat them, and that they cheat on their girlfriends. It's not some kind of sorcery or magic. That's just listening skills. Well, that's very specific, Dave. There was a guy on here that I knew that he was an architect and had an Asian girlfriend. They're like, how, Dave? There was another guy on here that I knew that he worked in an audio field, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm a sound designer. How do you know those things? Listening. Thousands of hours of talking, interviews, listening. It's not a magic trick. It's a skill that you can develop. Oh yeah, Dave, I've been listening to you for 5 years, 10 years. I go way back. You know, KGB, DVDSA. You think that's when I started? That's just when I decided to start recording it. Oh yeah, I listened. Thumbs up. I watched you hitchhike, season 1, 2, 3, 4. You think that's when I started? That's just when I started recording it. I've been hitchhiking since I was 15. You know how many cars I've gotten into? You know how many people I've talked to? You know how many stories I've heard? Hey Tony, come here. You're sounding. You gotta check that tone. You're coming off kind of braggadocious. And what's your point here? My point here is I'm scared of the silence. First of all, I'll start with that. I've always lived near a busy street my entire life. And so anytime I'm in nature, I'm scared of that quiet, you know. And even in nature, it's not quiet. If you're by a babbling brook, birds, insects, those are nature sounds. Those are soothing. But then, you bring your music and you got your laptop and, you infect and pollute and poison that silence. I don't know how many of you guys meditate, whether that's with music, continuous tone, or with a guided meditation, or just silence. But that's been a very powerful part of my spiritual practice in the last, very, very recently, actually, in the last 3 or 4 years. It's not something I've done my whole life. I've been running away, drowning out everything with noise and distraction, weapons of mass distraction. I asked Zach if he wanted to wake up. I can sense that he's at that stage in his life where, for me, most of you guys know I was been arrested multiple times and running, hitchhiking, running from the law, running, doing graffiti, running from myself, running from relationships, late 20s all the way into my not 40s, maybe, let's say 27 to 37, just running away from myself, not wanting to listen and it wasn't even me saying I want to wake up. It was my friends. It was like my close friends and my support people close to me saying, we don't know you anymore. You run so fast. You've run so far from yourself. We don't even recognize this guy anymore. And it wasn't a question, hey, do you want to wake up? It was, hey, you need to effing wake up or we're out. Call it an intervention. Wake up, get help, or we're out. And of course, my response was F you until it wasn't, What's the difference between changing your mind and changing your heart? Oh, I changed my mind. Oh, I've had a change of heart. Mind, heart, head to heart. The journey from your head to your heart will be the longest journey you ever take in your life. You don't know what you sound like. You don't know what you look like to others because you're you. You have to be open. You have to let your defenses down. So if the question is, hey, Dave, I heard you ask another person in this community the other day, do you want to wake up? Do you want to wake up? It's time to wake up. And you're like listening and you're like, wait, am I asleep? Do I want to wake up? What do I need to do? Well, first thing is you have to make a decision because staying asleep feels nice. It's cozy under those sheets. Hitting that snooze button. Waking up, man, I need my coffee, splash that cold water on your face. And then you have to act. You have to move. You have to walk. You have to go outside. I'm getting too old for this S. All that. But then you get to live, you get to experience life. So baby steps. First things first is you have to say yes. Yes, I want to wake up. That's on you. I'm not a puppet master. I can't tie strings and maybe I could do that, but no one else can wake up for you. You have to make that decision. Then you have to be open to hearing feedback. Are you open for feedback? You need to ask, without getting defensive, other people's experience of you. Because you have your reality and then you have other people's reality, and the truth is somewhere in the middle there. And then you need to develop those ears, those listening skills. Right? It sounds just like very simple stuff, Dave. Well, the sad thing is, most people will go their whole lives without hearing the truth. Well, what do you mean by that? Most people have surface level stuff. No, that's not me. I have really deep connection with my friends. You know how many times I've hung out with someone and that I have a deep connection with, and when I leave and I get in my car, I'm like, man, that guy's tripping. Well, what do you mean? Well, this guy's delusional. Well, if that guy's your friend, why don't you tell him what you're telling me in the car right now? He doesn't seem open to hearing that. Are you ready to hear the truth? The things your wives won't tell you, the things your husbands won't tell you, the things your best friend won't tell you, your boss won't tell you, your children won't tell you? Well, is it because I'm too fragile and I can't? Maybe that's part of it. You talking about confrontation? Yeah, but with kindness and gentleness. Kind-frontation. Did you just make that word up? Yeah, I did actually. Are you asleep, Dave? Are you awake? Are you alive? Sometimes. I'm more alive today than I was. But yeah, I'm not awake all the time. That's unbearable. Enlightenment is unbearable. It's not natural. Get enlightened, you make some moves, then you take a break, you take a rest. So, first thing is acceptance or acknowledgement that you want to wake up, and then listening. And listening for what? The truth about yourself. Are you ready to go down? That's all. That's it. And then if you don't, and first of all, let me just say this. Like I said, most people never wake up. They stay asleep and they live perfectly fine lives. So there's nothing wrong with that either. If you accept people for where they're at, that's where most people are at. So you accept that, and it's hard. Most of the things that I always talk about in here, whether it's art techniques or life or stories, they're all simple. They're not complicated. It doesn't take a brilliant mind to comprehend these things. They're all simple things. It's just really hard. It takes a lot of hard work. And that's not easy, but that's why we have each other. Ask for what you need. Raise your hand. Pick up the phone. Ask for help. Hey, I don't want to go this alone. Will you come with me? Will you hold my hand? Will you stand with me? Will you give me a hug? Will you lean on me? Will you raise me up? Yes. Deus me.